I use modern science as the pathway, but then all the formulations we have are purely Ayurvedic.
We'll also have to communicate that in a language world understand.
Can't wait for an American to come and sprinkle the holy Ganga water and say, hey, you know what, this is good. I don't want that anymore. We had this white man mentality where anything that was Western was good. Not necessary.
What is there in Gomayam that actually makes it very important part of Ayurvedic pharmacology?
Okay. When you have DNA damage in the body has its own repair mechanism, and it has a repair enzyme that goes and fixes it. Your brain is 90% cholesterol. Almost every single hormone has cholesterol. Your joints require cholesterol. Cholesterol is a necessity.
Namaskaram, Adiyan Ashwin. Welcome to one more episode of Table Talk 2.2. நம்ம அந்த சீரீஸ்ல நிறைய எக்ஸ்பர்ட்ஸா சந்திச்சு பேசிக்கிட்டு இருக்கோம். இன்னைக்கு we have a very special guest. Not as just a person, and the organization he represents is also very special. Special in terms of very iconic. மெட்ராஸ்ல பிறந்தவங்க யாருக்குமே இந்த ஆர்கனைசேஷன் தெரியாம இருக்கிறதுக்கு சான்ஸே கிடையாது. இங்க வளர்ந்தவங்களுக்கு ஒரு சைல்ட்ஹுட் மெமரியாவே இந்த கம்பெனி பேரை சொன்னாலே உங்களுக்கு தெரியும். And whom we have here amidst ourselves is Dr. Jammi Narasimham.
Thank you so much, Ashwin,
Thank you, sir.
for having me here. Pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Doctor, first, இப்போ எங்களுக்கெல்லாம் ஜம்மி அப்படின்னாக்க ஜம்மி பில்டிங் தான் தெரியும். ஏன்னா மெட்ராஸில் ஒரு ஹார்ட் ஆஃப் சென்னையில் இருந்து ஒரு பஸ் ஸ்டாண்டுக்கு பேர் ஜம்மி பில்டிங். ஓகே, அண்ட் ஐ நோ திஸ் இஸ் ஒரு ஆயுர்வேதிக் கிளினிக் அண்ட் ஹாஸ்பிட்டல் பேஸ்டு தான் அந்த பேருன்னு. எனக்கு இன்னொன்னும் தெரியும். ரீசெண்டாக ஒரு ஆர்டிகல் படித்தேன். the organization is 127 years old அப்படின்னு.
129 now. So
2 வருஷம் ஆயிடுது. So 129. What a beautiful history. ஏன்னா not many organizations in this part of the country are so old. எனக்கு இந்த ஆர்கனைசேஷனோட ஹிஸ்டரி பற்றி கொஞ்சம் எப்படி ஆரம்பிச்சது, அந்த ஜம்மினா என்ன?
Actually, we are the second oldest Ayurvedic institution in the country. The first one is Dut Papeshwar.
Okay.
Based out of Bombay, and then we are the second. So 129 plus.
Okay.
So
Dut Papeshwar is how old is that?
That is 100, more than 150.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And so Jammi ingiradhu is actually the name of a tree. And Tamil la vanni maram, Sanskritatla Shammi Vrikshaha. And it is very significant because the leaves of the Jammi tree is used in Vijayadashmi. And this is the tree in which the Pandavas hid their weapons during Ajñatavasa.
Correct.
So on the form of a corpse, correct, they hide their weapons. Yeah, that tree is a Jammi tree. So, and when they decided to expose their real identity, it happened on Vijayadashmi. And anikida and the chedi mele eri Arjuna brings down the weapons, and then he goes and defeats the Kaurava army, Karna.
Correct.
So that's basically the historical version and importance of the Jammi tree. But then there's also a lot of social and Ayurvedic importance given to the tree, because this tree, the leaves of this tree are used to cure so many diseases. Correct. Especially the stomach-based, digestive-based diseases. And socially also, the Jammi tree is the state tree of 2 states in the country. It's the only tree where it has been the official state tree for 2 states. First one is Rajasthan, the other one is Telangana. Rajasthan back in the 70s, there was this Chipko Andolan, where Indira Gandhi had tried to industrialize the whole corridor, and all the ladies went and hugged the trees. This tree was the tree that they all hugged. So that's socially also it's a very important tree as well. So as such, it's got a lot of significance. And
தமிழ்நாட்டிலுமே நிறைய சங்க இலக்கியங்கள்லாம் அந்த வன்னி மரத்தை பத்தி நிறைய
இருக்கு. So Jammi is not known in Tamil circles. It's known as Vanni, but also Vanni is a very famous and very important tree as far as Tamil literature is concerned as well.
Correct. And but Jammi is more Telugu pronunciation.
Yeah, it's a Telugu pronunciation. Shammi is the Sanskrit. Even in Hindi, it's called Shammi.
So இது வன்னி மரத்தை சார்ந்ததுனால அங்க so நாங்க the Vanni building basically.
Vanni building, pretty much. That's how you would want to call it. Yeah.
There are famous clinics and the pharmaceutical and everything. But how did everything start? Who started this?
It was started by my great-grandfather, Dr. Jammi Venkatramnaya. He was a Vaidya of tremendous repute. Or the intellect now, his intellect was so supernatural, I would say, because I'll give you a very, interesting incident that happened during his lifetime.
Please.
அந்த காலத்துல devasattukku they would call brahmanas to the house.
Correct.
And they would clean, they would pour water on their feet and then wash their feet and wipe their feet. Enga tata pandrachu, when my great grandfather, not tata, my great grandfather was doing this, one of the people that he was washing the feet off was an old man. Appo enna aachuna, he and the after washing his legs, he said, neenga veetukku poidunga, saapaadukku time agum, so pakkathu street da, I'll call you, I'll send word, neenga appo varalam appdin. So he found it to be a little strange, that old man, and he said, okay, na periyavar solraru, doctor solraru, na kalambren. So he went, illa neenga ponga, I will let you know. So our pona odane my great grandfather sent word to his son, andaloda son. He said, if you have any things that you need to get in order, affairs in order, please do so, because he doesn't have very much long to live. Appo that man was surprised. He says, what do you mean? I mean, he seems to be fine. Illa, when I was washing his legs, his pulse, there is a pulse in the
nadi, correct.
Very weak, and that means the blood flow is not there. He doesn't have much to live. And as he had predicted, based on a very solid medical science, he passed away that day. So those guys were completely in awe of his predictive abilities and diagnostic abilities. So he was the one who started it. And he was originally from Vijayanagaram, North Andhra, not Vijayanagara of Hampi fame. Andhra Vijayanagara is Vijayanagaram. So North Andhra, and he would travel back and forth. He was in fact invited to
Raja Vijayanagaram appdin sollu. He's also a cricketer also.
Yeah, and also a very famous music school.
Exactly.
A music school in Vijayanagaram, very famous.
Correct.
And the time la vande he would travel a lot. Inga Nungambakathla Tirumurthy Nagar irukkiya, Dr. T.S. Tirumurthy.
Correct.
He was the one who, in fact, he had invited my great grandfather to come here regularly to treat patients, because there were a lot of cases of Indian childhood cirrhosis. In those days, it was rampant. And we would have little children, babies, 10 months old, 1 year old, this huge or a enlarged stomach area. And it was, and the kaalathla they would refer to it as vaitla katti. It was not vaitla katti. It was the liver that was enlarged and hardened. But since this whole thing was virate, it was called vaitla katti. So in fact, our logo was the very iconic baby with a huge stomach, distended stomach area, and then later on becoming a very happy child. That was the entire, it was from this to this. That was the logo and the kaalathla. So he had he had to travel here very very often, because there were so many people over here, so many children over here who were suffering from that. So much so that he Dr. Tirumurthy had said, kattupadi agadu ungalku, you can't keep traveling here once a week and staying here for a week from a week. Why don't you move with your family, everything, just why don't you move here? So he thought about it for a while, and he said, you know what, it's probably a good idea. And so in 1906 he moved here. And he continued to stay here till his death in 1939.
And he moved in here, was that the place where he started?
Illa. So he moved in here, and his as a matter of fact, where he stayed, his very first purchase, he bought a house after coming here. It is in a place called Salai Street in Mylapore. And my father has converted it into a Raghavendra Matam. In memory of my great grandfather, his grandfather. He said, my grandfather's very first purchase should be used for public good. So and he has constructed Raghavendra Matam and donated it to the public, for the public welfare. Well, we still own the place. It is a matam. It is a matam, and the Puttige Matam of Udupi is the one managing the show. So that was as far as that's where he started. Ange he was dispensing medicines, and like I mentioned some time ago in our conversation, and the kaalathla potlam dan. He would mix herbs and powders together in a small piece of potlatha kudutte, and they would give. But then it got to a point where that was not sustainable. Evla perukku dhaan potlam kattuvar avaru, evla compounders vechikka mudiyum. So slowly he started he had a factory. And the kaalathla it was a good factory. It was in what is called Brody's Road. And then that also became too small, and they finally had to move to another place in Vadapani, which was that factory was inaugurated by V.V. Giri, who was the Labour Minister of India at that point in time. India or Tamil Nadu, I don't remember. So this was before my time, right? So I may be sketchy on the details, but overall thing is, Sri V.V. Giri was the one who inaugurated it, and Vadapanila we were there for a very long time. But then the kaalathla the business model was that of a clinic business model. We had clinics across the country, pre-independence, independence, because all these doctors were trained by the Jammi system. So they had to palpate the liver. Even now, if you come to our clinic, my father will palpate the liver. He's taught me how to palpate the liver in the traditional method. So you don't need an ultrasound scan to.
All over India, doctors were trained
by us.
Trained by you. Okay.
But slowly, as they passed away, it was impossible to find people to come and அந்த காலத்து
pre independenceனா உங்களுக்கு இப்ப இருக்கிற பாகிஸ்தான்லலாம் இருந்ததோ?
எல்லாமே இருந்தது. Pakistan, Bangladesh, all obviously. All we had people were, I mean, there was no boundary per se. Yeah? So these doctors would travel to, they would have headquarters, Lucknow, Delhi, Kanpur, Calcutta.
And did they call themselves Jammi system?
Doctors? Okay. They all belong to Jammi Venkatramaniya's clinic. Okay. So then it became Jammi's liver cure, and then it became Jammi's liver cure clinic, and then currently it is in the form of Jammi's wellness and liver cure clinic, because liver is a very integral part of our wellness, but it's not the only thing that we treat. We treat several other aspects: diabetes, heart problems, asthma, migraines, cough, cold, you name it, from head to toe. We treat.
But the spearhead was most known was the liver cure.
Yeah, it was, and it's still. Liver cure is still our flagship brand.
ஏனா first Jammi na modala and liver தான் ஞாபகம் வருது.
ஆமா. And that's the power of the branding, Parma.
Correct.
129 years ago start பண்ண brand to this day, even now, one of our top performing brands is liver cure.
Super.
So any liver disease, so people keep going to for liver transplants and things like that right now. So it's not necessary, provided of course you need to live the lifestyle that you're supposed to live. நீங்க வந்து உங்களுக்கு liver transplant பண்ணனும், you come to us, we will tell you, we'll give you a list of do's and don'ts, and we'll give you medicines. நான் மெடிசன்ஸ் மாத்திரம் எடுத்துக்கிறேன், ஆனால் நான் தண்ணி அடிப்பேன், நான் வந்து ஒன்றும் பண்ண முடியாது. Please go ahead and get your transplant done. And then the problem is with transplants is you have a finite life expectancy, and then your quality of life is diminished, and all those kinds of things. So to that extent, to this day, that power of the brand still exists. No? As far as liver is concerned, it has no peer.
Correct. It's one of the most powerful brands. But அந்த காலத்துல அந்த Mylapore area was also very flushed with this Ayurvedic factories and Amritanjan, Venkatramana dispensary,
Kesari Kutiram, Jammis. We were all part of the
and இதுக்கு அப்புறம் herbs வாங்கணும்னா டப்பா செடி கடை.
ஆமா, டப்பா small scale,
but வாங்குறதுக்கு for a common man to go and get
டப்பா செடி கடை. Even now it's there. Now it's moved from the previous, because the metro work, அந்த இடத்துல இருந்து it's moved to the Mada Street.
Okay.
எந்த Mada Streetனா North Mada Streetல இருக்கு இப்போ.
Okay. So கடைசி வரைக்கும் பார்க்கிங் இருக்கிற இடத்துல இல்ல.
ஆமா, பார்க்கிங் இருக்கிற இடத்துல, that's their ஐதீகம்ஸ். Like, you want to come to us, you'll have to walk, you can't park.
That's about the brand, that's about the history. Now எனக்கு இதுல வந்து இன்னொன்னு வந்து ரொம்ப இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கா இருந்தது. Your party, being the scion of the family, taking it up is all one side. You're a scientist, and your specialization is into molecular pharmacology, and more than 15 years, 20 years you've done research in this. And உங்களோட experience when you moved and took over this, especially Ayurvedic pharmacology, and you call it Ayurtech, correct?
Ayurtech, yeah.
Ayurtech. So அந்த transition பத்தி கொஞ்சம் சொல்லுங்களேன் எனக்கு.
Doing my postdoctoral research at Stanford, and when I was, I did my master's, PhD, postdoc எல்லாமே in the US, and actually the seed was sown during my postdoctoral work, because my work was on DNA damage and the repair done by the body. So when you have DNA damage in the body has its own repair mechanism. You don't need to add a drug or anything like that. The body recognizes that the DNA is damaged, and it has a repair enzyme called ATR that goes and fixes it. Now that's where I started thinking, it's like, body fixing itself is not a new concept. It's been around as an Ayurvedic concept for years. For millennia. Years is a very small time frame. For millennia, this is what Ayurveda has been saying. You make sure that the body heals itself. So by eating right, sleeping right, living right, all those kinds of things. Why don't I try to see if I can dovetail modern scientific research with the Ayurvedic concepts and see if I can do something? I mean, that was the thought I had in mind. But of course, after I came back to India, I was in the biotech space. I headed a biotech company, and then I was actually instrumental in launching India's very first recombinant streptokinase, which is a medicine for heart clots. It's called a clot buster.
Okay.
The clot வந்து dissolve பண்றதுக்கு the recombinant version we launched it. I was part of a company called Shasun, and we launched it first there. And I was heading their biotech division. அப்போ வந்து that's when I started thinking maybe it's time for me to see if I can move to Ayurveda, because that clot buster can be used only once.
Okay.
If the same person gets
the clot
again, you can't use it again on him, because because of the antibodies that get developed, and they will go and cause a problem.
Correct.
Basically, not to get too technical. So you can use it only once. So I said, this is not a sustainable model. So one time use is great, but if you can't reuse something, then there's a way in which this is not the right approach to health. So maybe I should come up with a scientific methodology in which Ayurveda can be framed. So that's where the whole I switched to Ayurveda completely in 2011.
Okay.
Right, that's when I quit my company at that my work at that point in time, and I came to Jammi's full time.
So your father should have been very happy then.
He was very happy, and he was very excited about it. I had a younger brother who was also very, very keen on making sure that I was part of this whole thing, but he passed away last year, unfortunately. But the point is, I was very keen on making Ayurveda scientific. So eppadi pandrathu was something that I was trying to figure out. So I spent the first nearly a decade, not nearly, 6-7 years, getting the R&D systems in place. I brought on board another director for the company who also specializes in quality systems, because one of the things that you want to do when you're doing Ayurveda is you don't want to lack in quality.
Okay.
So to say mine is high quality is useless without actually backing it up with proof. So adukku I needed somebody who had that expertise, right? So Dr. Anita Balachandran, she had come on board, and she was instrumental in setting up the quality systems. And my brother was he was very instrumental in setting up the manufacturing production systems.
Okay.
Six Sigma he was trained in Six Sigma, and he made sure that the production was happening very smoothly. And
உங்க R&D எல்லாம் இப்ப சென்னையில தான் இருக்கு.
எல்லாமே in Chennai. Our factories in Ikatatanga.
Oh, very good.
And I spent my time doing formulation. I weirdly enough, I was born exactly 100 years after my great grandfather was born. So I inherited, I don't know where, I somehow got his formulation gen, right? And I seem to have a knack for formulating cures for various things. And
உங்களுக்கு actually இதுவும் தெரிஞ்ச அதுவும் தெரிஞ்சனால you will be able to translate to the western world also.
Yeah, exactly. So I use modern science as the pathway, but then all the formulations we have are purely Ayurvedic. There is not a single chemical that we have. In fact, we have a shampoo that helps with preventing hair fall and preventing dandruff and curing dandruff. Adula vandu the lather producing agent is also Ayurvedic.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's even that is not chemical.
Okay.
So we are very, very particular about making sure that we stand by what we say.
Okay.
So and then yenga system of medicine is system of approach to treating patients is very, very unique in the sense that we are modern molecular scientists who use current data, current research, and use that as the guiding principles for coming up with Ayurvedic medicines. Now, in the Ayurvedic medicines it's not just a random mix and match. It's not shake and bake of ingredients based on whatever it is. So I've come up with an algorithm. So this is where AI comes. Ayurtech in Kettingal, yeah. This is where the tech part comes into this. So I have an algorithm. I used AI to generate an algorithm. This took a lot of refinement, nearly 1 year of refining the whole concept. I was using AI even before AI became a thing.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So but then that is actually a white paper that I published. It's out there, and I invite all Ayurvedic scientists, Ayurvedic doctors to download it. It's there. Okay. Please download it. Please use that as a way in which you can formulate your own medicines. Don't be random about it. Don't be very, very rigorous scientifically about it. So the idea here is to enhance knowledge. This is the first time of its kind that an Ayurvedic formulation has been codified.
Okay.
So you would have heard this, no? Don't take this and the heat increase agum.
ஆமா,
And
ஆமா.
don't take this and the kulirchi, it gives you kulirchi in the body. It's not random heat forming. Your temperature doesn't increase.
I
That's
read
not what it
about
means.
the Ushna and Shitala பத்தி உங்களோட இது நான் படிச்சிருக்கேன்.
The Ushna Shitala index.
ஆமா.
That's what I formulated.
Okay.
So the Ushna Shitala index that I came up with shows that certain herbs, certain plants, certain roots actually increase the energy that is being dispensed by the mitochondria.
Okay.
Mitochondria ங்கிறது ஒரு குட்டி organelle,
Powerhouse of the cell.
powerhouse of the cell. அது வந்து when it gives you energy, heat is produced. Anything, when energy is given out, heat is produced.
It's a byproduct of.
It's a byproduct of energy. Adha it means, that's what it means by Ushnata.
Okay.
So they're warm-blooded animals. You don't. So I see a lot of this criticism. Oh, Ayurveda is so backward. It says it increases the heat in the body. It does not increase the temperature of the body. It increases the heat producing index of the body by making sure energy is produced. Likewise, Sheetalata angarthu, it consumes energy. When you consume energy, it reduces the heat. So therefore, it's Sheetala. Sheetala is cold.
Okay.
So this codified algorithm was the first of its kind that we came up with, and it's published. It's I want everyone to use it. All Ayurvedic doctors are free to use this, and I want them to be very rigorous so that tomorrow the goal is not to get fame. The goal is to make sure that people don't point fingers to Ayurveda.
Of course.
Ayurveda is a very scientific system. Unfortunately, the intellect that our ancestors had, we don't have. And that is going to be the case as and when, because the more reliant we are on machines, the more our brain's capacity to think reduces. And AI can be a boon and a bane, and it's how you harness it. So Ayurtech is to use technology in the right way to make sure that Ayurveda is promoted in the most optimal fashion, where it's necessary, where you need to take it. So I still believe that integrative healthcare is very important. For example, you meet with an accident, you can't say, I want to do Ayurveda. You go to an ER, man. Go to ER, get treated, get your antibiotics, and make sure that the wounds are healing properly, all those kinds of things. But then once again, after that is done, to make sure that you prevent that all these medicines from causing further harm to your body, you need to move to Ayurveda.
Correct.
Adhe mari
rejuvenation.
But again, it's not just that. Is as far as acute problems are concerned.
Correct.
When you have chronic cases, I wouldn't even touch modern medicine with a 10-foot barge pole, because they don't have a system of curing it. They only have a system of managing it. Unfortunately, managing it leads to other problems. And this is what I gave a talk a month ago or something in one of those happy doctors meet, where I said that integrative lifestyle is very, very important. Where it's acute, where you need to intervene, please intervene. But when it comes to preventive wellness, there is no system more suited for preventive wellness than Ayurveda is.
Even modern medicine talks about holistic.
Now it's called network pharmacology. So network medicine. So network medicine. So what modern medicine, modern science has finally realized is that you can't tweak one system of the body without affecting something else.
Correct.
So that's why it's called network pharmacology. So for example, let's take the most commonly prescribed. You have a heart problem, whether you need it or not, they prescribe statins.
Correct.
Right? Now, statins, what do statins do? Statins artificially prevents an enzyme from manufacturing cholesterol. There is an enzyme called HMG-CoA reductase, irrelevant, but that is the one that is a very important enzyme in the production of cholesterol. Now, cholesterol is one of the most important compounds, chemicals that a body requires. Your brain is 90% cholesterol, right? Most of the hormones, almost every single hormone has cholesterol, has its basic building block. Your joints require cholesterol for lubrication. I mean, cholesterol is a necessity. Right, and your body.
And now they classify it into good cholesterol, bad cholesterol.
That is a different one. What transport things from the liver and to the liver is called good and bad cholesterol. But that is not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is cholesterol. By taking statins, you're artificially preventing the body from making cholesterol, which is actually needed by the body.
Okay.
And that leads to several side effects, and that's network pharmacology. If you keep taking statins long term, it has been linked. See again, causality is very different from coincidence. Right? So you want to have that caveat, but it's known that it has been linked to Alzheimer's. Again, that is a link. It's again not fully proven.
Yeah.
But then again, there are other things where it's been very clearly shown that long-term use of statins leads to muscle weakness, kidney problems, sexual dysfunction. Idella proven over decades. So it's being prescribed willingly. Adhe vande, if you come to an Ayurvedic system, you have you have Arjuna. The terminally Arjuna is a very powerful plant which is used for heart health, and it is excellent in treating heart health, along with several other herbs in conjunction. You can actually do the job. You can, as a matter of fact,
Arjuna is the same plant what we call Arjuna tree.
Adena is the bark of the Arjuna tree.
Okay.
The Arjuna tree or a bark da vanda we use for as a medicinal aspect, and this is far superior to statins when it comes to making sure that your heart is functioning properly, especially when it comes to elders. When we want to talk about wellness, there's another very important point. Wellness vanda after you retire, I want to take care of my body na agad. You should start taking care of your body from the time you're 30.
Correct.
Not even 30. See, but then again, you live your youth doing wasteful things and enjoying your youth. By the time
I recently had a conversation with another doctor, which she's into yogic sciences. She was describing about a case where she had an 11-year-old patient who had a type 2 diabetes.
type 2.
நான் சொன்னேன் juvenile ன்னு கேட்டேன். The same surprise. No, she said type 2.
My goodness.
Lifestyle. That is, நீங்க சொன்ன இல்ல 30 வயசுக்கு பார்த்துக்கிறோம்.
ஆமா maybe he's even younger. Yeah.
அவ்வளவு தூரம் போயாச்சு இன்னைக்கு. ஏன்னா
very very sad, no? Very sad.
Extremely sad. This is very interesting. இப்போ the codificationலாம் சொன்னீங்க இல்லையா, is ஆயுஷ் இதெல்லாம் இறங்குறாங்களா? Are they getting into all these things? Is the ministry getting into active regulatory for this?
Oh yeah, see, Ayush ministry ever since the last 12 years, no surprises there, because the Modi government has taken special interest in promoting the Indian system of wellnesses, not just Ayurveda, but Unani and Yoga and Siddha and homeopathy and all of it. Although homeopathy is more German in its origin, but still it's recognized as the Ayush.
No, we Indianize everything, sir.
Yeah. Or they westernize everything. One of those two things. We don't even know what the origin was. But traditionally accepted origin of homeopathy is German. But still, now the point I'm trying to make is the Ayush ministry is very stringent in its regulatory framework. You cannot make medicines unless your factory is GMP certified.
Okay.
GMP na good manufacturing practices. You have to have a certain set of documents. So traceability irukano, audit trail irukano, quarantine area irukano, the QC lab irukano. So my factory has its own QC lab, and you need to do that. And there are some instruments that I don't have. I'll have to necessarily send it out for quality control testing. So idella vandu mandatory. Of course, you will have fly-by-night operators who bypass all these things. They claim they have an Ayush license. Well, they may not have had it. But if you come under the ambit of Ayush, idella you have to follow. They are very strict about it.
You spoke about so much of publications you were involved with, research you were involved with. இப்போ நமக்கு வந்து இப்போ மாடர்ன் மெடிசின்ல வந்து we have Lancet type of publications. அந்த மாதிரி Ayurvedic publications
இருக்கு. There are Ayurveda line is one of them.
Okay.
The Journal of Ayurveda and Integrative Pharmacology is one of them.
Okay.
JAIM,
Okay.
Journal of Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine is one
Okay.
of them. JAIM. Then இருக்கு நிறைய. There are enough publications that
So
are
peer reviews are having.
Peer reviewed, well recognized journals are there.
Okay. ஏன்னா இதெல்லாம் தான் வந்து I think Ayurvedaவை வந்து ஒரு it will take to the next step.
And it's like people like us who have to make that happen.
Of course, of course.
We have vested interests. I don't want to sound selfish, but if we don't promote Ayurveda, who will?
Of course, yes.
It's not like we can't wait for an American to come and sprinkle the holy Ganga water and say, hey, you know what, this is good. I don't want that anymore. Right? See, we had this white man mentality where anything that was Western was good. Not necessary, not anymore. See, there are so many things that are Indian that are far superior to what the West brings us. That doesn't mean that you throw the baby out of the bathwater. You don't just say the West is bad. But as far as Ayurveda is concerned, I don't think we need anybody else to do. There are enough brilliant minds in this country that can foster the growth of Ayurveda without any issues.
But we will also have to communicate that in a language world understand. For example, now usually I take this example of Swami Vivekananda. He spoke Vedanta in a language where the world will understand. So the entire world looked at இந்தியன் வேதாந்தா ஆஃப்டர் தட்.
கரெக்ட்.
அதுக்கு முன்னாடி யாருக்கும் தெரிஞ்சிருக்கல. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி இதுவும் வந்து ப்ராபப்ளி வி வில் நீட் an Ayurvedic Vivekananda.
We will need கிடையாது. We've already started doing that.
Super.
So we can't speak Ayurveda in the இப்போ இருக்கிற in this for this audience. I cannot say வந்து your Vata will improve, your Kapha will improve, your Pitta will improve or decrease. சொன்னா யாருக்கும் புரியாது. I will have to speak in the form of this particular cascade pathway will get enhanced. I mean your COX-2 pathway will reduce in its efficacy. That's the language I have to speak.
Correct.
I cannot speak in the language of the ancients. But I'll tell you what, that does not mean that Vata, Pitta, Kapha was wrong, because it has already been proven in 2007 that the Vata, Pitta and Kapha have a very strong genetic basis. For example, if you are a Pitta dominant individual, you have certain genes that are overexpressed.
Okay.
So it is purely scientific. It's just that it's so esoteric and it is so complex. It becomes very difficult for a layman to understand it.
Okay.
Whereas if you speak to them in the language of this particular pathway is enhanced, that's a lot easier for them to understand.
Okay.
Right? So, but then we have started doing that. As a matter of fact, if you look at our communication, our videos, and the things that we talk about, I very liberally use modern molecular pharmacological pathways to express how a particular drug works.
That is necessary.
It's necessary, and we recognize that, and that's the way it has to be. Only then you can popularize Ayurveda, and you don't want to take away from the essence of Ayurveda.
You see, anatomy and physiology are the same.
Exactly.
Only the prognosis and the pharmacology can be different.
Pharmacology is still the same.
Okay.
Pharmacology is still the same. I mean, adhe pathways thane. Pharmacology will not change.
Okay.
What will change is how this particular drug affects the particular pathway. இப்போ நீங்க ஒரு பெயின் கில்லர் எடுத்துட்டேன்னா it is going to reduce pain for sure, but what does it do to the liver? That is the question, right? If you take too much Dolo 650, you are not supposed to take more than 4 Dolo 650s a day.
Correct. Okay.
But unga pain korelena, you see people who are addicted to it, who keep just swallowing it, and they end up damaging the liver.
Of course, at some point in time
it's going to happen. So pharmacology, in terms of the pathways being affected, that will change.
Okay.
But
the formulations might change.
Formulations will change. The pharmacology is
the pathways are the same.
Pathways are the same. It's the same pathway. Whether I take an Ayurvedic drug or whether I take a allopathic drug, if I have to reduce pain, I'll have to reduce pain a certain way.
Good.
The only difference is when I take an Ayurvedic drug, I will reduce the pain and make sure that I don't have any side effects.
Okay.
So that's why you will rarely find an Ayurvedic formulation with a single ingredient.
Okay. So it is always
always a synergistic effect. In the particular drug reduces inflammation, now something else has to protect what it is acting on. It is mandatory. I will challenge you to find a classical Ayurvedic drug that has got only one ingredient.
Oh.
You cannot.
Okay. So it's always a compound.
Dasa moola arishtam.
Okay.
10 roots kuda arishtam.
Okay. Fine.
Right? So it is that important, and those 10 roots themselves will have several compounds within them, right?
Correct.
So it has to be synergistic. A single molecule drugs are a thing of the past.
Okay.
They had their purpose, they served it, but right now for lifestyle diseases they will not work.
Okay. Do we use the same diagnostic?
Modern diagnostic tools have a lot of advantages because it's quick, it's
precise also.
Precise, unambiguous. Ayurvedic techniques are subjective.
Okay.
So if I hold your pulse, now ungala nadi pariksha panna versus a senior doctor doing it versus a very senior doctor doing it, the overall conclusions that the three of us reach will be very different. Right? So, and actually nadi pariksha is known as the vriddha kala. Vriddha kala, as you get older, it enhances, that knowledge enhances, because they would have seen tens of thousands of patients in their lifetime. And
I remember my grandfather, when he was in the deathbed, his younger brother came. You knew this. Okay. வந்து ஒன்றுமே பண்ணல. அவர் வந்து பல்ஸை பார்த்துட்டு எங்கள் பாட்டி பார்த்து மணி இன்னும் 90 நிமிஷம் அப்படின்ட்டார். அவ்வளோதான்.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was, and he passed away within that 90
very
minutes.
Peacefully. Yeah.
So அந்த 1.5 நாழி, அந்த 90 நிமிஷம், அதை சம்திங் he said, ஒரு நாழியோ 1.5 நாழியோ he said, அந்த டைமுக்குள்ள he passed away, but it was so precise. நான் அதை இன்னைக்கு யோசிச்சு பார்ப்பேன், எப்படி அப்படின்னு.
Yeah. So now what more and more doctors are doing, both Ayurvedic and allopathic, are they using modern tools to analyze what is wrong with the patient. Of course, Ayurvedic doctors also use Nadi Pariksha, and it is said that a doctor should start examining the patient the moment he starts walking into the room, from his gait, from his color of the eyes, his diagnosis
as much as an art than as much as it is a science.
Exactly. So it's very, very important. In fact, there is a treatise on fevers and diagnosis and different aspects of it. There's a separate section associated with diagnosis in Ayurveda, and one of the books is Madhava Nidanam Abdina. Excellent treatise, and you need to go to a very senior Ayurvedic doctor to be able to appreciate.
இல்லை ஈவன் ஃபார் நாட் ஜஸ்ட் ஆயுர்வேட், நான் வந்து ஃபேமிலி டாக்டர்ஸ்லாம் அந்த காலத்தில், இப்போ ஃபேமிலி டாக்டர்ஸ்ன்ற கான்செப்டே போயிடுது. அப்போ வந்து இட் யூஸ் டு பி சோ வெரி எல்டர் டாக்டர்ஸ்லாம் மூஞ்சி பார்த்து சொல்லிடுவா. தட் வில் ப்ராபப்லி பி சப்போர்ட்டட் பை டயக்னாஸ்டிக்ஸ். ஓகே, அண்ட் அவங்களுக்கு தெரியும், ஏன்னா உங்கள் அப்பாவுக்கு அப்படி தான் இருந்து எனக்கு தெரியும், உனக்கு அதான் இருக்கு. ஸோ தே யூஸ் டு சே தட். அண்ட் இன்னும் இந்த ஆயுர்வேதாவில் எனக்கு இன்னொரு டவுட் என்ன, டைம் அண்ட் அகேன் ஒரே ஒரு இது, I won't call it as an accusation, but probably as a curious thing, people ask about usage of metals. Are they used and how safe are they, and எந்த அளவுக்கு யூஸ் பண்ணலாம், அதெல்லாம் இருக்காது?
இருக்கு. Of course இருக்கு. Iron is a metal. You can't live without iron.
Of course, it's there all over the body.
Copper is a metal.
Correct.
You can't live without copper.
Correct.
Zinc is a metal.
Correct.
You can't live without zinc.
Correct.
Zinc controls more than 500 different enzymes in the body. Iron illama blood கிடையாது. I mean blood undu, but it's useless blood.
Correct.
Copper is a very important cofactor for several enzymes.
Correct.
So again, metal has become maligned very, very maliciously. So metals, of course you use metals, but it's the way you treat. You're probably talking about heavy metals.
Heavy metals, yeah.
Right, again, lead and mercury.
Mercury.
And so I'll tell you something else. Metals, of course, there's a lot of metals that are used which are necessary. For example, iron, zinc, copper, very, very important.
No, daily consumption ke use பண்ணுவோம்.
ஏன்னா iron கடாயில தான் பண்றோம் நம்ம.
செம்பு, people used to use that as செப்பு பாத்திரத்துல தண்ணி குடிச்சாக்க இட் இஸ் குட் ஃபார் தி பாடி ன்னு இன்னி வரைக்கும் சொல்றாங்க.
ஆமா, அப்சல்யூட்லி.
அதே மாதிரி ஈயத்துல வந்து
ஈயத் பாத்திரத்துல ரசம் பண்றது very, very important. So EM is one of the things with EM is it's got lead in it. It's not only lead. One of the ingredients is lead. It's treated. So here's something that you need to do. You need to pay cognizance to. So heavy metals, right? Let's talk about heavy metals. So metals ingradhu வந்து it's an easy thing to address. You need metals. The body needs metals. Without metals, the body can't survive. Now, what people actually mean when they say metals is the heavy metals, specifically lead and mercury. Now, for a very long period of time, this was used as a trump card without actually understanding how the purification in Ayurvedic terms is known as shodhana. Okay, bhavana, shodhana, part of purification of the heavy metals that we're talking, or any metals. As a matter of fact, even zinc has to be purified a certain way. Okay. Iron has to be purified a certain way. If you can't just take iron dust or iron pieces and swallow it and think it's going to do good for you. It has to be treated a certain way, and that is a very, very complex, very precise methodology that Ayurvedic companies use, much like ourselves, where we are very, very careful about how we treat zinc and all that. And zinc illama body doesn't work. From head to toe you need zinc. Reproduction you need zinc, right? The sperm requires zinc to be very fertile and motile. Renduthukkum you need zinc. So one of the things that this heavy metal shodhana does is it actually removes the toxicity of these things. And we have published papers. Have published. Jammis has actually published papers where we have shown that treating mercury, right, just pure mercury, and running it through a mass spec, right, where you identify particular aspects of the mercury compound, it is no longer the original form. It changes its form. Okay. So idella vandu we've done the studies, we've published it. So there is a lot of science that's out there, not just us, after us. In fact, I presented this paper in Germany in 2016. I had gone to a World Ayurveda Congress and I presented the fact where I showed that treatment of mercury with the right methodologies. I took a video of how we treat mercury. I will even share it with you here because it's very important. One of the first things that we subject mercury to, gomayam.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, and it's not any random thing. It has to be from a natumadu.
Okay.
And it has to be soaked in it for X amount of hours. Then you take it out, and mercury is cinnabar. Cinnabar is the ore of mercury. Then you have to purify lime juice. You treat it with lime juice for 24 hours, and then you treat it with another compound. You do all of this, it loses the toxicity, it becomes medicinal, it becomes carrier. Again, mercury, you don't use it in gram quantities. You use it in milligram quantities. You use it as a catalyst. You use it as a carrier.
Okay.
Right? It is something that enhances the potency of the main drug. So you don't. So, for example, there is a disease, a skin disease, which requires a cream that has to be made with a mercury compound. In fact, that is a very, very potent cure for that particular disease. Idella you have to explain it appropriately, and so it's fear mongering. So, well, I wouldn't necessarily call it fear mongering. It is just that lack of knowledge.
Because the same metals are being used in otherwise medicines also.
No, for a very long time we used amalgams.
Of course.
For your dental fillings.
Yeah, correct.
People lived for a very long time without anything happening.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
I still have an amalgam from my childhood days.
Okay.
And maybe that's how a little bonky in my head.
Since you took up, you brought the the subject of gomayam, something very interesting for all of us. In our Indian culture generally, and especially this particular topic has been made the center of undue ridicule.
Because of what Professor Kamakoti said last year.
Not just that, this Gomutra jibe is on everybody.
For a very long time.
Very normal. And அதே மாதிரி பார்த்தீங்கன்னாக்கா Dr. Margaret Alva or Oscar Fernandez, correct? He was an MP. He said in the parliament that this helped him recuperate from cancer.
Yeah. Oscar Fernandez, this guy, this Congress or defense minister, Anthony.
Somebody. It was slightly before.
Slightly before Oscar Fernandez.
I think Oscar Fernandez. Somebody who was true enough to admit it.
Okay. It's no surprise that Oscar Fernandez admitted, because he was always open to the Indian system of things. Now the reason why this stuck in my mind is because this was a Congress minister who obviously would not do anything.
Recently, Navjot Singh Sidhu said about
his wife. About his wife's
she's a doctor.
Yeah,
she's a doctor.
Ama.
Okay. But idella meeri what I have never researched on it, but I know always in my heart that something special is there. Can you explain? Because you are a specialist in that. What special is there? What is there in gomayam that actually makes it very important part of Ayurvedic pharmacology?
Okay, so gomayam is very different from gomutra. Gomayam is cow dung. Gomutra is cow urine.
Okay.
Now, Professor Kamakoti had made a very correct statement about how the importance of gomutra in health.
Okay.
And I will openly tell you this. If you and it's got patents. Ingalla, US la gomutra has got patents.
Okay.
For treating diseases.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So it has been proven beyond any doubt. Now there is a political agenda which we don't need to get into, where it shows where they want to ridicule anything that is Indian.
Correct. Now
gomutra has got several compounds that are actually very beneficial in promoting antioxidant potential.
Okay.
Right? So it's an excellent antioxidant. It reduces inflammation. Right? It has been proven beyond doubt. There are compounds with calicrains that will help with the reduction of inflammation. This day and age of Google, all you have to do, and I encourage the audience, patent gomutra. Just type these two keywords. You will see the patents. You will see the kind of diseases that they have cured. In fact, I came up with a video after Professor Kamakoti was ridiculed. I came up with a video in support of him. If you go to my YouTube channel, it's called Voice of Jammi.
Okay.
If you go there, I have given an entire list of all the papers published wherein they've shown that Gomutra is, and mind you, this is peer-reviewed publications, right? So you can try to find fault with it, but it's already out there, right? The publication's there. So there is no need to see. Science is science. Science is self-correcting. It's a beautiful part of science, right? So if you really have a scientific bent of mind, you don't need to have a PhD.
Correct.
If you have a scientific bent
curiosity
of mind, curiosity irukano, and you should be open-minded.
Correct.
Right? So just Google these two keywords.
And are there enough research happening in India? I know US.
No, India.
Where there is money, Americans will research. I know that. India.
Some of the papers are from BHU, Banaras Hindu University. That absolutely, Indians are also. So
does it usually work when consumed as Gomutra itself, or you can extract the chemicals from that?
Ideally, what you should do is you should go through a process of distillation.
Okay.
Arka, it's called Arka. It's a very classical Ayurvedic system of purification. Go Arka, Gomutra Arka. It's called Gomutra Arka. There you take cow urine, distill it, not filter it, distill it, and collect the distillate.
Okay.
That is very, very medicinal.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, that's what we use.
Okay.
For treating those zinc metals and so on and so forth.
Okay.
And it's very, very important because it gets rid of a lot of toxins, impurities that are found. See, again, zinc that we buy it's sold by the government of India.
Correct.
So you can't generally you can't go to Dabba City Kada and buy zinc. You won't get it.
Correct.
It has to be. So the origin is very authentic, but then it has been prescribed in the textbooks as to how you have to purify it.
Super.
And
okay.
we follow that to the T.
Super.
So that's why our medicines are so efficacious.
Super. And how about surgery in Ayurveda?
Absolutely. In fact,
Sushruta
is Melbourne they recently had
they opened Sushruta
of Sushruta, and even in Scotland, Edinburgh, I think, where they have where he's been recognized as a pioneer of surgery. Recently it has been recognized that Ayurvedic doctors with an MS in surgery can operate upon. Government of India has recognized it. So surgery is a very relevant and important aspect of Ayurvedic treatment. And there are certain surgeries that you can do much better in Ayurveda than you can in allopathic. For example, there's a system, it's not surgery per se, but there's a system called bloodletting.
Okay.
Where you actually use leeches to get rid of the blood, where to remove the toxicity.
Yeah, correct.
And it works phenomenally well.
Okay.
Again, you have to have an open mind. They're backward, they're using research. No, don't throw the baby out of the bath. You do your research, figure it out first, then condemn it. Adu varaikum panadinga.
We still use the malls ku pona
அந்த fish
காலை க்ளீன் பண்றதுக்கு
fish எல்லாம் மசாஜ்லாம் பண்றீங்களா? அது பண்றீங்களா? அது ஒத்துக்கறீங்களா நீங்க?
பட் ஆனா இது வலிக்குமே.
You know what, you want to get rid of the toxicity, you have to go through a little bit of pain.
So interesting, doctor. From your perspective, what do you think is going to be the way forward for technologically advanced Ayurveda in India vis-a-vis the world, in your perspective?
Okay, so when it comes to lifestyle diseases, I would highly recommend that you look at Ayurvedic intervention, simply because the single molecule system of treatment has gone past its expiry date. You cannot treat lifestyle diseases with single molecule interventions because like I alluded to before, network pharmacology. If you prevent or tweak or inhibit a certain pathway, the body will compensate for it in very undesirable mechanisms. You don't want that. What you want is a system of medicine that understands this, make sure that particular aspect of the problem is treated, while at the same time taking care that the other aspects of the human health are not adversely affected. Network pharmacology, network medicine. So heart problems, diabetes, especially if you're pre-diabetic, pretty much, which is almost everyone is right now, given the lifestyle that people lead. If you're pre-diabetic, two things I would recommend: watch what you eat and go for a walk. Only two things that you need to do, and you don't even need to take any medicines, Ayurvedic or allopathic. But when you got to that point where it's 6.5, 6.6, you still don't need to get into the allopathic segment. You can still get into Ayurvedic interventions, get your lifestyle corrected, and you can easily reverse it, bring it back to normal. Beyond a certain point is when you need to have a combination of both allopathic and Ayurvedic medicines. So like I keep saying, right, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Where necessary, you need to take allopathy. There's no two questions about it. It has its beautiful benefits. Antibiotics unnecessary, chemotherapy unnecessary. Chemotherapy again is, you need chemotherapy if you have cancer. I mean, you can't say cancer வந்துட்டு I will live my life a certain way, but எனக்கு இப்போ வந்து I only Ayurvedic treatment na போடான்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. You can't do that, right? So
Correct.
you have to undergo chemotherapy, then protect your body from chemotherapy by using Ayurveda.
Okay, so to
You have to
increase your immunity and
increase your immunity, prevent toxicity, all that.
immunotherapy is what they call it.
No, immunotherapy is it's a different form of cancer treatment. Chemotherapy, radiation therapy, immunotherapy, they're all different forms of cancer treatment. And all of these have side effects on the body.
Okay.
In the side effects, to manage and
Minimalize
prevent, make it minimal, you have to use Ayurvedic medicines.
And coming back to Jammi, before we close, today the direction it takes, I know that it has been a very popular clinic, hospital, and
it's not a hospital, it's a clinic.
Basically.
It's an outpatient clinic, yeah. Always
outpatient OP, okay. And your focus is going to be expanding the OP parts of it all over India, again as usual, now what it used to be in your great grandfather's time, or focusing on the pharmaceutical part?
It's a combination of both. We would like to do both. We would like to set up centers across the country. That will be the next step. But first, we would like to expand our pharmaceutical footprint.
Okay.
Make sure that our medicines are available. We are focusing on the D2C segment. We're focusing on the increasing of the medical reps across various states. In the Mari, we want to increase our pharmaceutical footprint first, and then go in for the increase in the number of centers.
It has been a very interesting conversation with you, Dr. Narasimham. For me, a lot of things were very enlightening in terms of details, what you said. And இது மாதிரி பார்த்தவங்களுக்கும் I'm sure அவங்களுக்கும் இதே இந்த ஃபீலிங் தான் இருந்திருக்கும் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறேன். And I thank you again for joining us this conversation. And I'm going to visit Jammi once.
Please do. Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks.